Test, test, test. Microphone check. 1, 2. What is this? That's a Tribe Called Quest reference. We might not get that. Maybe we will. I don't know. Uh, this goes out to you. This goes out to you. And you. Little small episode of Smoke Your Best decided to pop up. Been away for a while. Let's see if this gets out to the masses. This is an interesting time to do this because I think it's Sunday night for. I know that, Keelan. I know that, Keelan. There's only one person that says Keelan like that. Matty boy, what's up, brother? Yeah, my man. What's up? What's up? How you doing, man? I saw that you were really busy with the new shop, man. It looks beautiful. I know you got your hands full with it though. So I saw that you had a lot going on. Bobby in the place to be. What up? What up, man? Good to see you too, bruh. What's goody? Let's kind of see, man. Since we had people pop in way faster than I expected, I thought it was gonna be a little bit of a drought. So come pie, man. Cheers to y'all. Got my grapefruit juice. Got the Angel Cuesta. So I'm just gonna chop it up with y'all for a second, man, just to see how it goes. Um, Alex, what up, man? Dude, just working. I'm at work now. Just watching my dog. All right, bet, bet, bet. Don't work too hard, man. I know they're glad to have you out there, though, man. So congratulations on that. Big congratulations. Um, it's Smoke Your Best. So I hope you guys are smoking your best cigars right now. I hope you guys got a chance to kind of kick back and relax. It's Sunday night for everybody, right? That's where I was going at. It's Sunday night for everybody. It is Monday morning for me here in Japan. I just got back into Japan last night, like around 6. I had been on vacation for about a week in Hawaii. So I did Honolulu. I think that's the island that I was on. Honolulu, Waikiki. And I can't see all the rest of the names of the places where I was just because I don't speak Hawaiian. That shit's hard. I got, Mahalo. Uh, that's really about it. That's the best I got. Anyway, spent some time on the beach. And the reason why I wanted to come on, I didn't have a cigar the entire time that I was in Hawaii, man. I didn't have a chance to get to any of the cigar locations. It was kind of interesting because it's just like one that was kind of far down on my list. My main thing is like, spending time with the fam, getting to the beaches. My wife's friend had a wedding that was out there, so we wanted to make sure we did that. But something I had never done in my life that I've been dying to. I don't even know if I talked about this on any of the other Smoke Your Best cigars or at any other point in time or, with the infamous crew with Unbanded. I've always wanted to surf. I've never been surfing from Virginia Beach to all the different San Luis Obispo, you know, LA, to Japan. I've living in near Kamakura, living near Hayama. I never got a chance to get on a surfboard, so that was a bucket list for me. So I'm gonna get into that in a second. Very nice Monday night here. Oh, are we Tuesday? Hold on, my workout is still going. That tells you right there, yo. Like I was scrambling, man. Like I don't even know what day it is anymore. Like my whole joint. Yeah, Oahu. Yeah, you're right. Ray, what up, man? Yeah, I'm alive. Yeah, we could do a live check, yo. I'm breathing. I'm living and breathing. But here's the thing, man. The last time I came on, it was for my birthday, right? We smoked the um, Eye of the Shark, and kind of doing the 45th celebration on that one. Wanted to spend time with y'all. Wanted to chop it up. And my bad for getting the dates wrong, yo. Like I've really been going nonstop, so I really didn't know. I don't know why I still thought it was the weekend. The time zone shit. It's crazy. Anyway, so June has been really good to me. I gotta say that. I'm back in Japanese class. Been studying with that. back in the gym real heavy. Birthday just passed, moving into July. I had this last trip, to Oahu, and really getting out there and just spending some time on the beach. Waikiki is crazy. How many of y'all have ever been to Hawaii? Just let me know, like, in the chat, because I'm really curious to see what that experience was like for y'all. I know it's a lot of islands and whatnot. I know it's like Kauai and Maui and all that. I haven't been to those yet. This was my first time ever going to Hawaii. And growing up on the East Coast, I never thought that was going to be a possibility. Growing up as a lower middle class to poor kid on the East Coast, it was a pipe dream for me to ever see Hawaii. So being that I was able to get here and really spend some time, had a full week out there and able to travel around. We had a rental car. It was gorgeous. I wish I could like show you guys pictures right here. It's eat my shorts, Petey. Let me see. Yeah, stupid. Been to Oahu, Kauai, and the Big Island. So the Big Island is actually Hawaii, right? So that's dope, man. I hear Kauai is nice because it's more laid back. You get to kind of like really chill in a more laid back area. So what we got to do was we hit the North Shore. That was the last leg of the trip. We did Waikiki, spent some time in the Hilton. The view that I had in the Hilton was phenomenal, Jack. And I can't lie, I wanted to get a cigar while I was there because we had a balcony and we were on like the 28th floor and we could just look over Waikiki Beach. And that's like a perfect place to just sit back and have a cigar and unwind. But they didn't allow smoking in the room or on the balcony. So that just kind of set that back. It was paradise indeed. Look, I can't lie to y'all. Like, it was paradise. The family was cool. And the big thing about that whole process is I've always wanted to surf. And just growing up in North Carolina and Virginia, I didn't think it was possible. For me, especially in the 80s and 90s, I thought surfing was only going to be like something that you see in LA, something you only see in the movies. And, you got the bleach blonde cats and, they doing hanging 10 and all that. I never thought it was possible. And you guys can kind of read between the lines and kind of understand. And Matt said Kawhi was his favorite so far. That's what everybody's telling me. And you guys can kind of read between the lines and understand why, I never thought just that was going to be a thing that I could ever do, right? So I get to the beach the first day, and my wife and I are just sitting out there, just chilling. Sand is beautiful, water is perfect, crystal clear, nice waves out there, and it's just a ton of people out there surfing. I look at those cats and I'm like, tomorrow, that's me. I'm doing it. Aloha, what up, Sal? I look at that water, man, and I was like, I'm going. Ain't nothing gonna stop me. And my son was like, yo, I want to surf too. My son is 11, about to be 12. He's like, I want to surf too. My kids can swim. They're on the swim team. I got them in swim lessons and the whole nine. And I said, fuck it. I said, we going. I said, you down, kid? I'm down. Like, go back, have a great time, go out to eat. I cannot tell you how much loco moco and poke I ate. I don't know if they do anything else out there, but but, but barbecue pork, loco moco, and poke was everywhere. And I'll get into that side of the conversation in a minute. I want to talk about the surf thing. Let me see what else is being said here. Plus, do Lilo and Stitch is set in Kauai. Great movie. Here you go with the Disney stuff again, Matt. Let me tell you, I haven't even seen Lilo and Stitch 2. I don't even think I've seen the original Lilo and Stitch. What about Moana, man? I know you know that too. What was Moana set? Moana looks like my niece, but that's neither here nor there. Benjamin, what up, B? Ben, how you, bro? What's good, y'all? So anyway, this is still a great cigar. I got humidity issues. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Is a man bun. Oh, no. The live remake was phenomenal. Dude, you were so wild, yo. Matt, please never change. I love you, brother. I swear I do. Anyway, this is still fire. Um, Let me see if I can show you my arm. I don't know if it's gonna show up on camera. I don't know if y'all can see like all the scars that's right there. All right. I know I'm dark. I got a wonderful tan, but I said I was gonna get out there on this beach. I said I was gonna surf, and we found these cats that were selling surfboards for like it was like $20 for 2.5 hours or something like that. You could just rent them and just go out there. Never been on a surfboard. I never watched a YouTube video on it. I had no concept of how this was gonna work out. I just said, "Yo, me and you, kid, we're gonna hop on this board and we're gonna do our best." This dude said he's never seen Moana. That's crazy. John said, "Oh my gosh, send up the flares. Keelan is live." What up, bro? Put the word out, man. Y'all hit the like button, do all that kind of stuff, man. I just wanted to chop it up with you guys for a minute. So I appreciate y'all. So I said, "Yo, we're gonna do this." I got the boards, and when I got the board, it was dude gave me a long board. He could tell I was green, so he was like, "Here, take this long board." My son got one of the like a foam board that was at a decent size. Cool. We get out there, we paddle out, and there are guys that are teaching classes. I wasn't gonna pay these guys to teach me. I wasn't doing YouTube and all that kind of stuff. It was really just like spare of the moment. Let's hop on this board and see what we can do. So, like the dude that was out there said, "Chi who we paddling out to Jesus. We going." So I'm paddling. I'm getting out there, and at first I just kind of get used to like standing up on the board, getting used to balancing the board and all that kind of stuff. And anybody in here that's a surfer, please give your insight. Please, chime in on this because I really want to hear what y'all got to say about this whole process, right? Beautiful smoke. So, mainly what I do is just watch a couple people. And there's absolute kids out there. They're like younger than my son, and they're hopping up and they're hanging 10. And I mean, they are surfing. So I'm like, these kids is cooking. I'm 45 and I have no clue what's going on. But I watch them. I watch their technique. I watch how they wait for the waves, getting them while they're still green, that whole process. And my son is standing up on the board. He's doing okay. So I'm just like, all right, I see how they're doing it. I see where they're placing their legs on the board. I see how they're popping up and how they're placing their hands. I did the whole process of just really just studying to see how this whole thing was going to go, right? I just wanted to get in the groove of what surfing was. And I also like coast over to the people who were teaching lessons and just kind of overhear what they were telling people, how to paddle out when the wave is coming behind you to get the momentum, to catch the wave and all that. And I would say I only caught like 2 waves the entire time. Oh man, it's phenomenal. The Angel Quest is phenomenal. We're gonna put that up real quick. Boom. It's phenomenal for sure. And I finally catch one. And y'all, if y'all ain't never been on the board before, that feeling of catching your first wave is everything. Like I ain't had endorphins like that, and I can't tell you how long. I can't tell you how long it's been. The fact of doing something new, doing something you never have done before, and that feeling like you're flying for a moment. Like I like it was pure adrenaline rush. It was pure exhilaration. The thirst of chasing after those waves and picking the right waves and getting your body in place. The workout that it took to actually get out there and swim out there. My lats are like on fire right now. Still. Sid, what up? Good to see you, homeboy. It was crazy just because when I finally got it and I finally got to stand up, and it wasn't like 2 seconds, it wasn't like 3 seconds. Like I'm really riding this wave like for a good decent little ride, and feeling like just 30 seconds of that just kind of feels like a dream. You know what I mean? And like I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I'm telling you guys right now, when I get off of this, I'm going to buy a wetsuit. I'm going to buy my own board. I'm researching on YouTube and studying everything inside and out right now. Your boy is about to be a surfer. I'm going out to Fukuoka. I'm going to Miyazaki. What is that? Aoshima. I think that's the name of the island that's out there. And I'm just catching waves as much as I can. So I'm getting busy. Let me see what Ben said here. Ben said, he said, I love longboard surfing, shortboard. It's a totally different animal. I know. I know. But I want that thrill of actually getting on a shortboard and really being able to have that agility to be able to go back and forth and really control that. I can't wait. Like being an ADHD kid, like you always find these new things that excite you and get you going. It's nothing like just imagine for probably like 40 years, literally. I've been dying to be on a surfboard. I've been dreaming about it, and I just didn't think it was ever going to be possible. And now I live in a place where I can just get out there and I can do it. So I'm gonna go longboard. I'm gonna go shortboard. I'm gonna try everything. So it's gonna be legit. Says being one with nature, and I think that's why, I think that's why I'm falling in love with it for real, for real. Just imagine this right here: being able to get your best cigars, right? Load up your car, go out to some beach in Japan, and you got the mountains, in the distance. You got this, this Pacific water, and you got all these waves, and you could just sit out there, have a cigar. When you're done with your cigar, grab your board, hop on the board, and just go out into the waves. How can you tell me there's a better life than that? I don't see what's better than that. I don't know what's going to touch that. You know what I'm saying? Just to be able to just come back in, get some sushi, get some ramen, let the body recharge, go back out there and catch a few more waves for however many hours. That's gonna be crazy. Fred is up in here, man. What up? Yvonne Bay, what up, my brother? Oh, you look, check me. I got the Wakanda shirt on right now too, so we really get it in. Taurus up in the place to be. Texas, what up? Yo, I just came from the gym too. Like y'all see, I'm still in my workout clothes. So I just did a pretty decent workout. Overhead press, did squats, did bench press, skull crushers, curls, and I feel like it was pull ups. I did my pull up routine, so I'm gonna be sore tomorrow too. I feel it. Appreciate y'all joining in, man. Thank y'all. And while I'm at it, I want to say I'm sorry that I have not been able to uh, hop on with Cigars Unbanded. I haven't been able to hop on with the homies. I haven't been able to hop on with Cigar Adventures. That's part of the reason why I hopped on right now. And I know I missed some really good stuff. I haven't even watched the playback, for the recent interviews. Y'all know I really, 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 really wanted to be on for these interviews. I love when guests come on, even if I'm just in the background, I don't really get to say anything. I can just sit there and you know, it's I know I don't smoke very often anymore, but I just love the insight and being able to learn about all the different cigars and how people feeling. Woods, what up, man? Good to see y'all too. I've had FOMO. I'm gonna be 100 with y'all. I've had FOMO just because I really wanted to be on and just kind of see how the vibe is with these conversations, to see what the forward thinking process is right now. And I like the fact that the majority of the guests, when they come on a really good show, they can be vulnerable. No, no, man, I really feel like it because it's a weird balance. It's a weird balance because first of all, I want to be there for the homies. You know what I'm saying? That's important to me. And but I know I couldn't be on all the time, just the way the schedules have been going. But being that I feel intrinsically that I'm a part of these collectives, you know, Scotty, what up, cuzzo? No, I'm back home, man. I'm back home. But I really feel intrinsically that, be it, Cigar Collective, be it Cigar Avengers, be it Infamous, I don't feel like this is anything that I take lightly. I think, the whole thing about being brothers of the leaf and the whole thing about having a cigar community is really being a part of a community. And it's really good to have people that you can meet all over the world, and everybody has a common ground, and you meet through cigars. But there's so many other ways that the friendships develop, and just the community grows and all that, and just to see the growth of all of these communities, it's really a beautiful thing. So there are times where I really feel like I'm missing out. The other side of that coin, though, is the amount of time that I spent recently with the fam, and growing my household, and just connecting deeper with my wife, connecting deeper with my kids, seeing them grow with their sports, and being able to travel and go on vacation like we have. Like, I'm doing stuff that I never thought I would be able to do, and I don't want to take that for granted either. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that, I feel like is is necessary. Let's see what Ben just said here. Lawrence, what up, brother? Uh, we need your input on the Num Num post in the Discord. Give foodie inspiration for Johnny. Been great slice of life. I'm gonna try to get back in. I'm gonna try to get back in. If it's anybody, I want like to see what they think about food. It's Johnny. That cat, man. I love people that just have a unique personality, and that dude, man. He's charming to me, for real. And I'm not even saying this to gas. Like, I love that he's so frank and matter of fact. Like, if anybody between him and Matt One T with having a podcast just by themselves, figure they can carry just about any conversation by themselves, man, because they're funny, even when they're being intentionally funny or they're being unintentionally funny. And you don't get that all the time. Like, it's hard to get those kind of personality traits. You feel me? And I love to see that. Let's see. This look like Fred. Let's see. Patina Cigars will be with us on July 12th. If you can make it, cool. Cool and dig. It's all good. No, I appreciate it, man. But that's the other thing. So we did the Hawaii trip just because my wife's friend got married. So that wasn't even on the books. That wasn't like leave, based on my wife's position with the military where they give us time off. This was just like, yo, she's getting married. We haven't been to Hawaii yet. Let's do it. And we did it on a whim. We did it within a week. So that trip was kind of like spur of the moment. And to be that spontaneous, it was a great thing. But it's hard to kind of, judge the different time zones and stop what you're doing when you want to go like that. So I wasn't able to like hop on and be present as I wanted to be. So in 2 weeks, I'm leaving again. So I'm gonna be on the East Coast. I'm going back to the States. Going to visit my side of the family, my brother, my mom's, my nieces, and my nephew, my daughter. I'm going to check out that side of the family. Hopefully, see some of my cousins that I haven't seen in forever. I got a funny thing. I want to talk about this too, but I'm going to see some of my cousins, and then going up north to New York. I was telling Peter that it's a good chance that I'll be in New York, so hopefully I'll be able to get a chance to chop it up with Peter for a second. I'm crossing my fingers on that to see how that goes. So I'm gonna be in the States in about 2 weeks too. So like this is a busy time for me right now. So I'm like running all over the place. I'm gonna try to be present for since I'm gonna be more on a normal time zone with you guys. But the downside is that it's gonna be a lot of family time. I don't know how much time I'm gonna have to get away. I don't know where my privacy is gonna be as far as like being able to just be on alone time, just to sit back and have a stogie. I don't know how that's gonna go. We're gonna see. Yeah, fan first for sure, for sure. But going back to what what Fred was just saying though, being on with Patina is going to be interesting too because how do y'all feel about Patina all the way around? I want y'all to throw in the comments like, what do y'all really think about Patina cigars? I've had some stellar patinas, and I've had some super mid patina. That's for me. I love the name. I love the concept, the aging, and all that. I think that's really smart. But I think what was it? If Matt is still on too, maybe if he can stop and chime in. I think was that the 25th anniversary for the patina? Is the one that was fire. It kind of had like a white label with like teal and gold. I think I'm doing this off memory. Like so, I don't know. I could be fucking up, but I think that was like the 25th, whatever that was. That's the one that pops out in my head. That was like one of the best. Um, but then I had some that was just like the one that came in a jar and all that, and that was super mid. I think I still got a review up on that, but I feel like the competition is so. He said he can't remember any of them. I can hear you said that too. That's why it's funny to me, yo. Let's see. He said, Oro de Nicaragua is the best one for me. But they do have some bangers and some hangers. And that's a really good way to put it. Uh, yeah, so I think you came in a little bit late. My bad. Let me get that right there. Went back to, smoke your best. So I went back to one of my old favorites. I said I'm enjoying the Aging Room Sonata as we speak. I don't even think I had the Sonata. I haven't done Aging Room in forever. I don't even think I got any downstairs. I've given away so many cigars recently. Like I really don't think I have that at all. But that's hey, smoke your best, man. That's what we doing, right? So, Lawrence, with you feeling that way, I really want to see like how you're gonna like. Don't drink too much on the next show. Don't go too hard. Hey, what up, bro? Good to see you, brother. Oh, these are moving. I go up. There you go. Boom, boom, boom. Good to see you, homeboy. Hey man, my thing is this is the time to get up on and try some of the patinas, man, just to kind of see what they how they hit your palate, man, just to see if they work for you. It's for me, it's a brand that, like we were saying, is kind of hit and miss, but when they hit, it's really good. And I think a lot of the brands when they have that hit or miss kind of profile, they can kind of fall under the radar a little bit, and they can kind of disappear. I've had some people chiming in, uh, just from it's funny because the vintage cigar in general is kind of like a dead site. But I'm amazed that it's like 5 videos that are still circulating around that people still kind of check in on and kind of watch. Um, and one of the main ones is the Padron video, be it the short or the full video. And that's where Def, what up? That's where a lot of people are really trying to like give a lot of commentary, and they're still like commenting on my page. And a lot of them like they don't watch the whole video. They just get mad at the fact that I had, not the most glowing review of Padron in general. Like people are still hot about that. They are mad, boy. It's funny. And you get certain people that want to have a real conversation about it. Then you get other people that, just kind of like you tell they're trying to be condescending, like I don't know anything that I'm talking about when I'm talking about like cigars in general. Like, yo, I did this for a while. I might not be the best at it now, but I did it for a while. But that being said, I try to like when they were like, well, what do you think is going to actually be better than Padron? And I'm just like, the whole point of that video was for me to expound on the fact that there are other cigar brands that you can try out there. You don't just go into your local, you know, lounge and then, they offer you a Padron that's going to be $25 right off the rip, and they're trying to take you to the big cabinet. There's so many other cigar brands to try. But the crazy thing is, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is each time I do that, I'm trying not to go to all the same, cigar brands over and over again. But I'm always going to mention Atabey. I'm always going to mention Dumbarton. I'm always going to tell people, hey, yo, go try Davidoff. Go try Byron. If you want to spend some money. But there's the standards. You got the crown heads and so on and so on. But it's amazing how many times I might forget to mention Warped or Lucione or Patina. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so many different brands out there, and there's so many different, brands that you can try and expound on and develop your palate on. And I usually stay away from like the Cohibas, but I wouldn't mention Agent Room. And that's the thing. Like I'm like I've tried so many cigars, and I spent 5 years just doing deep dives on different cigar brands and different cigars and all, and going through all the different leaves and different regions and all that kind of stuff. And it's so easy to compartmentalize with the ones that you're familiar with, or with the cigars that you have access to, or the cigars that you've fallen in love with. You kind of miss the patinas. You miss the aging rooms. You miss the avos. Like it's so easy for that to happen. And I thought when I was doing the top tens, that was the best way to kind of like really go through the humidor and really go through all your videos and all the bands that you got left around. Is like, hey, there's so much more for us to talk about, and there's so many brands out here. So when these guys are coming on to all the different shows now, and they're trying to get themselves out there, hey, I can't forget Herklotz and what he's doing, trying to grow his brands out there. Like I know I'm not the biggest fan of it, but that doesn't take away from other people who are trying to expound and expand on their knowledge of cigars. Like why would I leave him out? And it's so much more than just Padron, Davidoff, Cohiba, Punch, Romeo and Juliet. Like there's a lot of different options out there. Let me see what Sal was saying. I'm kind of catch up with you guys here. So, Patina hit my palate like like a wood chipper. Which one though, Sal? That's the thing. Which one? And I know you're a smoker. So I know you got at least a couple that you can kind of name off the top of your head. That's hilarious though, by the way. But that makes sense. That makes sense. And I'm not really surprised at that, because I know there's been times where I'm like, this one ain't for me. But I've had some that was like, whoa. And I think, matter of fact, the last time I was doing a pretty serious smoke your best cigar, I think it was when I was talking about my homie Money. Um, I think that's when I was just like, yo, this patina was actually standing out, and it was something good. Uh, and so definitely seeing some patinas in the B&M, but they are usually on the low shelves and not easily seen by consumers. See, there you go, there you go, and that's what I was trying to add to that. But I think it's on us, for the community at large, and especially those of us that have a platform. It's kind of our duty to really be able to not promote brands, but to really just give those who are coming up behind us a chance to smoke something different, to see what else is out there. So in fact, that's one of the main reasons we want to have them on. Someone who has no experience with patinas can try them. See, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, and that's really on us, you know. And I know I've kind of taken myself out of that loop. I'm not gonna be a name that people go to in general, but I do want to be around and be with the fellas to be able to talk about some of that. And that's still some of the fun part for me, is being able to talk about this and to see people expand their palettes, and the comparison and contrast of the different options and the different cigars that's up there. Um, it's so many people throwing their hat into the ring though, and not everybody's going to be great. Not every brand is going to be great, and that's fair and that's understandable. But you never know who is going to really be able to take off. If we don't like really give them, you know, their just time in the sun. Like you got to give people their just due and give them the opportunity to really see what their portfolio has to offer and to really to see how things are going to hit your palate. Now you're going to have those moments like Sal was having with Patina, where it's just like, yo, this brand ain't working for me, and that's understandable. But at least you took a chance to dive into those waters to see what was out there, right? I can't even think of what's her class brand name again. The Suma and all that was. I'm not even being Ferriotego. Ferriotego. For me, I didn't want to, and I love to see the growth that Ferriotego is having right now. I love like this Renaissance period, and I honestly I kind of feel bad of how harsh I was at that time frame, but I was being honest, and it still has not changed for me. But you still should be able to say like, hey, I'm gonna try these cigars as much as I can, and I want to see how they work for me. Is that something that wants to consistently be in my rotation? Then you got situations like Crown Heads or Cavalier. Like I used to speak so highly about those cigar brands, right? Like those were some of my go-tos. They have some cigars that I consider absolute classics, but I don't smoke them nearly as much as I used to. And with the changes that's been happening with those brands, it wasn't nearly as alluring as it used to be for me 1 to 2 years ago. That kind of thing happens. But you don't know unless you're out there trying more than just Padron, trying more than just Davidoff, trying more than just a Tour Fuente. And that's what I was trying to convey. It's like, yo, go out here and see what these other brands have to offer. And that's why I get so hyped seeing the brand owners taking the time to pay attention to the reviewers, pay attention to the people like giving feedback. And I feel like they can only get better. Like you're pushing them to say like, this is where I need to go. This is what, if the reviews are saying this and just the overall audience conversation is saying this, how can I improve? Do I need to go out there and find another tobacco leaf that I haven't used before? Do I really need to spend a lot more time on a blend than I did the first time? Do I really need to constantly go on these shows to show my face, to give myself a little bit of presence? Hey, look. And I'm not trying to clown him, for real. I really wish I could have been on the show to have a conversation with him. Man, I honestly believe just like when I talked to Saka, when I talked to Brian from Pravada, I think that kind of tension in the conversation can actually be a beautiful thing. And I think being able to really put somebody's feet to the fire and to really be able to stand up on your own perspective and your own opinion can't help but go really far and really kind of push the conversation a little bit. And everybody can only get better if you've been under pressure like that. Let me see. Have you been sent any of the AG cigars by Alex Glass? No, not at all. Not at all. I'm trying to think, Sal. Like I'm really trying to go through the humidor right now, and I don't think I have any AG cigars. So this is new to me. So I'm curious to see what's up with that in due time. Uh, I think as individuals, enthusiasts, and consumers, it's up to us to take what is said by others with a grain of salt and be willing to try different blends and different brands. Take a chance, for sure. And it's so funny that you're saying that because I was just watching a video on YouTube. I'm watching Christian Harloff, and he's going back with a guy named John Roca about how movie reviewers and the review sites affect movies in general. And he was just like, yo, people are being so influenced by movie reviewers right now that nobody wants to be honest. The one silver lining about this cigar reviews, especially on Instagram and YouTube, is that we don't really get any kickback from this. This is really just us just being enthusiasts, right? Just like you're saying. So we're not really being swayed too much. I mean, of course we all know that there's some people who are swayed by just getting cigars for free and all that kind of stuff. But that's a small scale compared to getting to see a movie first or getting invited out to red carpets and all this other kind of jazz. We don't have all of that. But the fact of the matter is, in most cases, the opinions are going to be very straightforward and be honest. What up, Rob? I see you. Soldier, I see you too. What up, yo? It's really like those things where you really get to, like, you're having conversations with these CEOs and these brand owners and the people that are putting in the bread and butter to making these cigars that we enjoy so much, right? And to really be able to have a difficult conversation with them or an easy conversation with them, and if they really know what they're doing, we're really fueling all that, and those reviews are going to matter to a degree, right? But it's also up to us in that same vein of what you're talking about to be able to say, like, hey, you got to go out here and try this for yourself. And if y'all go back into my old reviews and all that kind of stuff, I was always saying, like, y'all, I need y'all to go out and really try to see how this works for your palate. This is how I felt about it. This is the potential that I think it has. Now you go out and try it. Let me see what Pete's saying. Said check the dates for our upcoming guest shows. Cavaliers coming up. I did see that, man. I saw Sebastian is gonna be there. You're always welcome to jump on, but hopefully I'm free, and that's really the downside, bro. I just haven't been free, and it's been. That's where I was saying earlier in the combo about, you know, it's been really hard, and that FOMO has been really deep, man. I've been really trying to get out there and see what's cracking. So this is what we were talking about earlier. Shouts out to Michael, man. What up, Prisdale? Nah, man, like not yet. So I'm finally back home, So I'm back up on the porch. I'm back in the Sasebo. And this is the first cigar that I've had since my birthday. Um, so this is kind of me, like, just trying to get a chance. But believe you me, brother, I'm as soon as I can catch another wave, I'm out there, man. I'm when I tell y'all I'm hooked, I'm hooked. And I think the same way that I went in with cigars about 10 years ago, that's what I'm about to do with surfing. Don't think I'm gonna be doing YouTube videos on it. I ain't doing that. But my brother is about to be out on those waves as much as I possibly can. So it's probably gonna have to wait until I get back. But from what I've been told, out here, August to November is gonna be the best time to really catch the waves. So that's when we'll be out there. How's your Japanese coming along, my dog? Arigato. Arigato gozaimashita. Muzakashi ne. Nihongo wa muzakashi. Muzakashi desu. And if y'all don't know what I just said, Japanese is very difficult. It's very difficult. Shouts out to Nagi Sensei though. So I got a new teacher, and her whole concept lately has just been to speak to me in Japanese, and I got to reply back as much as I can in Japanese, and it's hard, bro. It's hard just because, like, the whole concept of speaking that way is just foreign to me. And she said I like Wagashi too. Wagashi mama desu, it's okay. Mama, it's okay. But you know, so if y'all ever want to, like, say what, something, if it tastes really good, everybody knows oishi. Oishi is it's delicious, right? But you can also say umai, like when you really like something, umai. But wagashi mama. Hey, mug said hola. My father-in-law is going to ask me the same shit next week when he's out here. Good luck, brother. Just it's gonna be a lot of so that's hi, so that's in it. Like, what you don't? A lot of like, yeah, I agree. Just do a lot of that. What you don't? Not a who don't. Just do a whole lot of that. That's what I do. It goes a long way, you know. To just say, oh yeah, it's correct. Yeah. You know. If he says something and everybody start laughing, just I'm gonna shoot it. It's funny. If you get some of the basic stuff, man, it makes it easier to just the front, like you know what's going on. All right, I want to do this because I was saying earlier that I'm going back home and my kids are going to be spending time uh, with their cousins. My kids are going to be spending time with their cousins, and I got a crazy story, real quick. I'm gonna tie all this together. I got a crazy story. You know, this is smoke your best cigar, so y'all know how I do with the stories and stuff. So I had a cousin who went out to Bali, and this sucker did all the stuff that you're not supposed to do when you go to a foreign country. He drank the water, right? He ate raw food. I think he ate like raw oysters, and he got stung by a mosquito. And my dude got dengue fever, food poisoning, and something that had to do with the water with his intestines, all at once. My cousin literally almost died in Bali, and his organs were shutting down. Like I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. This is real. And my cousin is like 4. Yeah, I think he's 4 years older than I am. Not quite 5. And when we grew up as kids, my cousins are like brothers to me, or like sisters. We are like tight, and just in general, like we grew up, you know, going to the beach together, going to King's Dominion, spending the night at each other's houses and stuff like that. Like that to me, that's what cousins are like your brothers or your sisters. You feel me? So for me, with my being here in Japan, I don't get to see my family as much as I used to. My kids don't get to see their family as much as they used to either. Let me see what this comment is. Dog, I just got bit in the forehead by a mosquito. Hey man, he got bit on the top of his head. Boy was in the hospital. He just got back yesterday from Bali. Like he was supposed to get back like a week ago. That's a whole nother thing. So good luck. I ain't gonna say you can get dengue fever. You ain't in the you know, and you're not in Africa. You're not in uh, Southern Asia. I think you'll be all right, but be careful. That being said, you're gonna have a big Nassim's ramen, you know, not on your forehead. That being said, um, he's okay, and he was just excited to get back home to see his fam and stuff like that. And I was telling him like, yo, you could have just came to Japan. You know, it would have been a lot easier. Um, but having my kids go back and spend time with their cousins, um, that's a big deal for me because they don't get to see them the way they used to. Because I'm used to like they are always around. But I was joking with one of my coworkers. I grew up in a small town in North Carolina, and my neighborhood was extremely diverse. And that's one of the things that made me who I am as a person, made my background what it is, the way that I relate to different people and different cultures and stuff like that. But one thing that I found interesting, now y'all correct me if I'm wrong, especially being in the South, white people have just as big as families as black folk, right? But I ain't never know many white folks that I grew up with to be tight with their cousins. Like they don't even mention it. I had one homegirl that I grew up in school with who I found out who her first cousin was. It was a girl that I used to hang out with all the time. I found out, I was like, wait, y'all first cousins? And she was like, yeah, we fam, you know, yada, yada, yada. I had no idea. Because for me, like everybody knew my cousins and everybody knew who my cousins were. And, you know, all my friends and stuff like that, like, just from around the way, I knew who their cousins were. I knew their aunts and their uncles and all that kind of stuff like that. And I'm not trying to be funny right now. I'm just like, it seems like to me, culturally, just the people that I grew up with, the white people that I grew up with, I ain't never seen them with their cousins. And it was never like, yo, I'm going to stay at my cousin's house. I'm going over. They would rather ever say like, I'm going to my auntie and my uncle's house. That was always strange to me because it's just like, for me coming up, my aunties were like mom part two. You know what I'm saying? All of my aunties, I got five of them. All of them I'm tight with them. Matter of fact, I got to send my auntie a birthday message today. If I forget about that, she might kill me. But I don't know if this is just, I don't know if it's just kind of a cultural thing. I don't know what it is. So y'all prove me wrong if this is not the case. Yeah, they thought we were brothers and sisters growing up. That's what I'm talking about. Like if I'm walking through the hallway at school, my cousins were 4 years older than me. So when I was a freshman, two of my older cousins were at the high school with me. And I would skip class. I ain't really like skip class like that. They would always let me out to walk around the hallways and stuff like that. But my teachers loved me. That's a whole nother thing in itself. But I would see my cousins and I'm parlaying with them and they all knew how tight we were. But dudes that I was like best friends with, I don't know. To this day, I don't know who their cousins are. I ain't never seen them. And I grew up in a small town. I felt like they would always be there. You know what I'm saying? So let me see. Let me see what Michael was saying here. Maybe it's because my family moved all the way out to Vegas, but we would always travel to visit my cousins in Florida, New Jersey. My mom had four sisters. They all had kids though. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like that part, it can't be uncommon. Like families got to be just as big as my families are. So like I got two uncles. Both of them recently passed away. I talked about that on Smoky Best Cigars before. I got five aunts. All of them had, except for my uncle Dennis, had at least two kids. So they were always in town. Like even if the parents weren't around, somebody was staying at my house. My little cousin Zach is like my little brother. You know what I'm saying? Like he was at the crib. Like my cousin Chelsea, she called him her little brother too. So it was really like, I don't know if it was one of those things where like we had to be that tight. You had to be that together like that. Or what? Hot Box, what up, homie? Welcome back. Carpy, what up, brother? Long time no see. Hisashi Woody. I don't know, man. I just always thought that was a funny thing, man. I always thought that was just kind of interesting, just to see the dynamic and the difference of the way, like, family was. Maybe it was another thing. Maybe you just didn't talk about it like that. But if there was gonna be like a cookout or something like that, like yo, I'm going to my cousin's crib for a cookout this week, or yo, my cousin's coming over. I'm making brisket. They coming through. They bringing the burgers and the dogs. Like that was just a part of everything. It was just like I'm as tight with a lot of my cousins as I am with my one brother. My brother actually left. When we was in high school, he didn't even live with me. He was living with my aunt. So he was in Virginia while I was still in North Carolina. So that was like he's staying with my cousin. So like, hey, it's summertime. Let me go up where my brother is. I'm back in Virginia. I'm in Newport News. I'm at my cousin's crib. I don't know. Maybe it was just a different thing. Maybe I'm seeing something else. I don't know. But I always thought that shit was funny. I was talking to my coworker about it. She was just like, "Yo, now that you mention it, you might be right." She was like, "I don't talk about my cousins." She was like, "I don't even care." So I don't know. That was a tangent. This is still one of the best, yo. See, he said, let's see. My dad had two sisters that moved to Vegas shortly after us, along with my grandparents on both sides. The cookouts were at my grandparents every month, and it was just endless Italian food. Now, see, that's some family love I would love to see, but hey, that might be different. Italian folk, they're on a different plane. So, my wife's sister-in-law is half Italian, and I love going to to California to her crib because her mom always making lasagna and all that, and she like, yo, when y'all come here, y'all gonna eat. That's just love right there from the Italian folk. They speak through food. I love that. He said, I saw a post on Facebook today asking, have you ever heard white person reference their cousin? That's crazy. You just mentioned this. What's crazy about that is this, that I saw that video too, and I was bucking out because I was like, yo, I was just talking about this, so I got to bring this up. So that's part of the reason why that came up. So that's all connected. But even the way dude was saying that was like, I felt like I was saying it to my coworker. So that's what's really kind of brought that up, man. And I didn't want to like get into that on Facebook just because I've had some issues with some of my homeboys that I grew up with back in North Carolina, and just the political tension that's in the air right now. I just like, let me leave this conversation alone. That's not something I'm gonna talk about on stream, but I had to sort something out with one of my close friends back in the day, and just to say, if he ever sees it, shout out Johnny, I love you, but I'm glad we had that long talk that we had. If I find it Stogie, I'll send it out to you. If Rob don't send it to you, but it's really pretty funny. It's pretty funny, and it's something that you know I love being able to talk about this kind of stuff over cigars, man. Just to to kind of smooth out the playing field and just to have these discussions. That's what Smoke Your Best Cigars is all about. This is where you talk in barbershops. This is the way you talk in lounges. It's just people can get stuff off their chest, enjoy a cigar, and talk amongst friends. That's a beautiful thing. I asked this before. Let me see what else is going. Hotbox got some insights here too. He said we don't talk about our cousins because people like to make incest jokes. Hey, look, you know what's funny about that, yo? Because that same post that Rob is talking about, if you go in the comments, it's so many incest jokes in there, man. I ain't want to go there. I ain't gonna do folks like that. But that did come up. That really did come up a lot. That's hilarious. I'm actually crying, yo. Look at this. Look at this, yo. The homie Moses is up in here. What up, Moses? He said, I got mixed family. I got a bunch of close friends that I talk to all the time. Wife has family stuff going on 24/7. And we both thought the other side was weird. The others was weird for the longest. It's a strange thing, man. It, but I love to see the fact that people can just talk about cultural differences, and that's really a big reason. I was talking to somebody recently, like a lot of people have been asking me, like, do I want to come back to the U.S. And it's gonna be a while before I come back. But I love the fact that I'm able to see and share differences in cultures. Just with the homies in here, I know a lot of the homies in here got mixed families. My wife is half Filipino, so I'm real tight with her Filipino side of the family. And I gotta say, man, like when I was going through a hard time trying to get to Japan, the Filipino side of my family, they took me in and they really made that transition period easy. You know what I'm saying? And being here in Japan, I also get to talk to a lot of people, learning the language. And with my Japanese teacher, she and I like we get into conversations a lot. That excuse me, we kind of leave the lesson aside sometimes because we're so busy just talking about the different cultural differences and how to approach, being, Nihonjin and being Japanese and really kind of talk about how they relate to family and the whole senpai order and all that kind of stuff. I love learning about that. I love being a part of that. And I love kind of like, expressing to her what, black culture is like in America and, how it feels to be either accepted here or to still feel like a foreigner, feel like a gaijin. That whole thing is dope to me. And once I get the language down, man, just being able to go into an izakaya and just sit down and talk with people and just share a beer and just be able to go back and forth and to really see a different part of the world that I never understood before. That makes all of this worth it. It really does, man. So, and I can't see like leaving that behind. Let me see what Sal got to say here. I said, growing up in an Italian family, we have family coming out of the woodworks. Lots of laughs, lots of fights, facts. But when it came time to eat, we all got down with lots of love. Dude, that like, man, I think part of the reason why I got into cigars the same way that I got into the culinary field is because food is the expression of culture. When you think about flavor profiles and cigars, and you think about all the different regions of where all this tobacco comes from and all of that, when you think about the spices and herbs and the way people approach food, the way people approach like bringing everybody together over food, it's the glue. It's the glue for all communities. Dead serious. I'm not being funny right now because you think about the way Italians express themselves over food, and I think about just being in Hawaii, for that short period of time. I felt like, especially being in Waikiki, I felt like it was so many tourists that were out there. This is the other thing that I wanted to talk about too. I'll get into that, but the amount of money that we spent just trying to, absorb all the different food cultures that was out there and seeing the mix. It was so much Japanese, Filipino, and Hawaiian foods that were all mixed together. I felt like every other restaurant was like, Japanese and Hawaiian, or it was going to be Filipino and Hawaiian, or it was like Hawaiian foods. And to see the way that like they would blend and all the different fusions, and then you would see like the Mexican Hawaiian. There was a spot that had like Thai tacos that was like down the street from my hotel. And I said earlier, like I ate so much poke and loco moco and eating sushi. And there was a fried chicken spot that was out there. And that fried chicken spot had one side that was like burgers. The other side was like all like different kind of roast pork and all this kind of stuff. And then the other side was just, then they had the kimchi in there. And I'm really looking at and studying like how all these different food cultures blended together. And that tells you right there that this is the way when you got all these different people coming to Hawaii, you got, the Polynesians and, you got the natives, then you got all the Europeans that came out there and how they colonized the whole place and the whole nine. And you got all what is it, Issei? Issei, I think that's the first generation Japanese that came out. And you see all the different influence, all the different foods that were out there and how all of that merged together. So, if you just think about in America, the whole thing behind Thanksgiving was like the native people introducing their culture to the Europeans that came over, right? And you look at like all the different, from the Italians, the Irish, Africans, especially in the Caribbean, all of that, all those foods is what starts to blend together, and that's the way that you can tell how different regions become melting pots is how the food experiences connect everything. That's what like that's why I fell in love with food. That's why I went to culinary school because I wanted to be able to cook just about everything. I wanted to be able to like if if someone who is of East Indian descent, I know how to make ghee. So in turn, I will be able to make vindaloo, right? If someone from South America, came through, I can make lomo saltado just so I can just be like, here, let me share this with you. You know what I'm saying? I can make poke, so somebody that is from that indigenous group, they can feel at home in my home. And I don't know, man. The way that I look at it is like you understand people when you understand their food. If you can make soul food, you can make people understand what African culture and African American culture is all about because you understand what soul food is like. And anybody that's Filipino is gonna be able to eat Filipino. Like they bring the lumpia, they bring the pancit. We were on a beach. Cannot make this up. We were on a beach. We were. I think this was nah. This wasn't North Shore. Which beach was this? It wasn't Waikiki Beach. Lani Kai Beach, I think it's what it was. We just sitting on the beach. Filipino lady came up with a box of food. She was like, "Yo, I got adobo, I got pancit." And, she had these coconut desserts. $10 out of the pocket. Boom. We sitting there eating adobo on the beach. Bruh, like you can't beat experiences like that. You can't just like anybody that's ever been to New York City, like when you just walking on the street and you got the Afghan food that's out there, you got the Italian food that's out there, and you got West Indians, you got all the Jamaican food that's out there, where you got Trinidad and Tobago. That's what makes New York beautiful, because you got all of this whole melting pot, and you can just sit there and eat and just taste people's cultures, man. That's why I fell in love with food the same way I fell in love with cigars, man. I really think that's a cool thing. I really think, like, you can't help but like kind of fall in love with other people's cultures and way of life, and you get to taste their food. You get to go back centuries just by the flavors. That being said, I'm broke right now, yo. I ain't got no more money. Why? I have never seen a place more expensive than Hawaii, yo. That shit was crazy. I got I bought a pack of M&Ms for $5. It wasn't even a big pack either. It was just a regular pack. If I just went to, I left the beach and I go out to the ABC stores that are out there. To me, when I see ABC, I think it's a liquor store, but that's like their convenience store that's out there. But I went out there, man, and I got like a Red Bull, I got San Pellegrino, a pack of M&Ms, and some gummy candy, and that was $25. Yo, that place is so ridiculously expensive, yo. It's not even funny, man. I don't know how people survive out there. I went to a restaurant, ordered a local moco, some burger, some rice, gravy, and an egg. $25. Go out and I got the roast pork meal. I got like this mixed barbecue, and just for myself, $25. So everywhere we went for my family to eat, it's $100 every time we went out to eat, because it's four of us. I go. I had to get a rash guard. So when I went out there surfing for the first time, I burnt my arm up. I burnt my chest up. Not by the sun, but just by surfing. I didn't understand that I needed a rash guard. $36 for a rash guard shirt. 36 just off the rip. Now I paid it because I wanted to surf so bad. I wanted to be out there so bad that I was like, "Bump, I'm gonna do this." You know what I'm saying? But I can't even tell you how much we spent a night just for the hotels. It was crazy, yo. Let me see what he says here. He said those prices out there are no joke, man. You ain't never lied. I have a friend from the islands, and the first time she came to the mainland, she was shook. She moved here within a year of going back. Look, the wife and I was sitting there, like we was having a conversation, and like we want to go back. We want to go back, and we're probably gonna end up going to like either Maui or Kauai the next time we go back. I don't know if we're gonna spend time in like Waikiki and all that kind of stuff, because it was just ridiculous. But just the fact, just like we went out to the swap meet in Honolulu. So at the stadium they do a swap meet that's out there. Y'all LA folks will know all about that type of joint. But everything that was out there, like just to get the shaved ice, just a thing of shaved ice, $9. Some places was 12. To get a boba tea, $12. Everything out there was outrageously expensive. So I can only imagine the culture shock that she got going. You still in the United States, but going from Hawaii to the mainland, even if you go to LA, you're not spending that kind of money, yo. It was crazy. It was crazy. And the McDonald's that I went to out there was probably one of the worst experiences I ever had. Like just stay out. Don't go to McDonald's. Don't go to Wendy's. Don't go to Domino's. Don't go to none of the stuff that you're familiar with. Just just go and find whatever barbecue spot, whatever local moco spot that you can find out there, and eat that, because you can get the portion sizes, but you're gonna spend no less than $25 for yourself every single time. It's crazy. I don't even know how much the cigars cost. I can only imagine, because I didn't even get a chance to really shop like that. Because all the places that I went to, the only thing that they had was like the Cuban rounds and a bunch of cigars that I had never seen or heard of before. And we can look at cigars and we're gonna be able to see whether they're like the brands that we know, or you can look at the wrapper and like, that's a cigar I want to smoke. We are connoisseurs enough that we know what's gonna be good and what's not. Mark, what up, man? I see. Hold up, I gotta hear what you gotta say, because I can't imagine. I can't imagine that was like me coming up, and I'm not even being funny. I can't imagine like how I would come up in a conversation. So that's cool, man. I appreciate you, homie. I hope it was good things. I hope I made a good impression of whatever was said. But that being said, yo, I feel like we, most of us, like, I have one of my bosses at work. He goes out on the golf course, and he's kind of getting into cigars right now. And usually, what he will do is, he will ask me about cigars, and I've been giving him a lot of cigars because I want him to smoke. I want him to smoke his best. So he'll usually show me like a Cigar International, page or something like that. And he was like, "Yo, what about this cigar? What about this cigar?" And most of the time, I'm like, "Look, these are not the cigars that you want to smoke. Let me let me give you some cigars that'll show you the difference and the different tiers of cigars, because just buying these bundle cigars all the time, you're not giving yourself the best experience." And I think that's like, the conversation that we was having earlier. You want to be able to enlighten people on the best options that are out there. If somebody's into sneakers, you want to be able to say like, okay, yo, those Adidas that you rocking are cool, but let me put you on these kind of Air Max that will probably be even better. Or if you're going running, like, look, let me put you on these New Balance with this, nitro cushion or whatever, something like that. You really want to give them the best of what's out there. So Mark said, I asked what cigar content I miss. I named this channel. Hey, man, wow, I appreciate that, bro. I really do. I really do. That means a lot. Hold up. Said he got to finish Squid Games with the wife. We catch you soon, bro. Look, before you go, I just finished Squid Games. When you finish that up, DM me, man. I want to talk about this. You know how I am about these TV shows. I haven't gotten to the bear yet, but I did finish Squid Games. When you get a chance, holler back at me. Say hello to the wife for me too, man. Shots out. But y'all know I'm ADD. Have y'all watched Squid Games yet? I'm not gonna put any spoilers in here yet. There's some good things and some bad things about that. I can't wait to talk about it, especially with Michael, man, because that dude knows his shows. But yeah, man. Hey, Mark, I appreciate the love, dude. I gotta be for real. Like, this is the only way that I'm coming back when I pop up and do a smoke your best like this, just to have a conversation with y'all. I really wanted to go in, and talk about my trip to Hawaii, and I want to talk about surfing because that's such a life changing thing for me. So I kind of wanted to talk about that for a minute while I had some downtime. I go back to work tomorrow. I work for 2 weeks and then I'm back in the States. So the chances of me like doing shows again is slim to none. But it's cool that people still care about the show, and it's cool that like people are still commenting on the channel and all that kind of stuff. So that means a lot, bro. I would assume that some beautiful land for growing in. I bet tobacco that could grow would be extraordinary. The property costs are out of control, man. Look, dude, hold up. gonna get into that. That tobacco would be hella expensive, without a doubt. So my homegirl that's out there, she's Japanese, um, and I think her kids are half Filipino, half Hawaiian. I think it's somewhere along those lines. But that being said, she's out there um, in a group where she's helping fertilize the land, and they grow taro out there. For me being a culinary, like that's what we use to like thicken a lot of our ingredients naturally and stuff like that. And that's a major commodity out there. They were growing mango, um, avocado, and it was quite a few more things. But when we were riding up to the North Shore on my last day there were protests on the streets because so many people were taking over the land, and the land is getting so expensive that the native people can't even afford their own land out of there. They're getting priced out. I could go on a whole political tirade on that if I wanted to, but I'm not. But I do want to talk about the side of the fertilization. That part is it's massive, man, because there's only so much land on the island, but you got this volcanic soil that's out there and this temperate environment. The weather was phenomenal. And it was so when we went to the North Shore, dude, it was so much farmland that was out there. And to leave, Waikiki to go up to the North Shore and to see the difference in the way that the land changed and the way that the people changed, the skin got darker, and the land, like there was this clay that was out there, and it was so much farmland, and it was all these people that's like selling fruit. They're selling, the pineapple, and they're selling like all this stuff on the side of the land, but they're getting priced out. And if I can only imagine that if they try to grow tobacco out there, the same way they would in like Nicaragua or Costa Rica or something like that, it could be something phenomenal. But from what I could see, I was only there for a short period of time. I don't think that culture was there. You have that high end culture where just like here in Japan, I'm sure they got Davidoff out the wazoo, but I was never able to get into a lounge to see what that environment was like. But I can't imagine that they would, if somebody really wanted to be, or if they could afford to grow tobacco out there, they could probably make a killing. And the way that I look at like Brazil tobacco, right? I know most of you who've had, the Brazilian based tobacco, you can taste the difference in that terroir, right? You can taste the nuttiness of that. You can taste the almost like the banana leaves. You can taste how tropical it is. I would figure that you would get the same effect out of Hawaii. And I don't know if it would be, buttery or, tasting like the avocado, or if it would have like a sweetness where you could taste the pineapple and all that kind of. I have no idea, but you would probably get the sweetness that you could get from like the taro roots and all that kind of stuff. Like I would imagine that soil would have to be fertile enough that you could get something special out of Hawaii. I've never looked into it to see if there are any like you know companies that use any kind of tobacco that's from that region. That's something I would have to look up. I don't even know if that's there. If y'all have done any research on that, I would love to hear what y'all feedback is. But I can only imagine that could be an area. Just the fact that you put Hawaii on anything, it would sell like hotcakes. It would definitely kill. I wish I had gotten a chance to really get out there for myself to see what this cigar culture was gonna be like. I didn't have it, but when I was in Waikiki, like during the day, it was nothing but tourists. I heard so many different languages, while I'm just walking down the beach, so many different accents and whatnot. But then when I went out at night, Hawaii different at night, bro. When I tell you, I felt like I was in the hood. I was back in the hood. Like everybody think Hawaii is just like all paradise. It ain't all paradise, man. But also with the amount of Porsches and Maseratis and Teslas that I saw, like G wagons and whatnot that I saw riding up and down the street, there has to be a high end culture that's there. And that area that I was in Waikiki was nothing but high rise hotels, pools were everywhere. So there has to be people. There were golf courses everywhere. So there has to be people out there smoking cigars and playing golf. And there was alcohol everywhere. And people compare and put their alcohol with their cigars. I know that has to be a thing out there. But sometimes you really got to be deep into an area to really explore what their nightlife is really like, to really get a feel for what their cigar culture, what their liquor culture, what their food culture is really like. You can't get it in a week's time like I had. You're really not going to get the full depth of it. You know, I feel like I'm a lot more versed at, how people operate here in Japan, similar to how I would be, if I'm in the Northeast in in America, or if I'm in the South, or if I'm in California. Those are places that I spent a significant amount of time where I sat in lounges and I talked to people and I smoked the cigars that they smoked and I ate the food that they ate, and I sat around while they drink and all that kind of stuff. Y'all know I don't mess with that, but sorry, I had to relight. But I feel like you can really immerse yourself into a culture. You can't do that within a week. He said it's barely any middle class and it's mostly low income, or the top 1%. And that's what it looked like to me. That's what it looked like to me, man. And I went out to dinner with some of my wife's coworkers that she knows, because it's a lot of military bases there, of course, Pearl Harbor and all that kind of stuff. Um, that there's like a lot of people. So you have a lot of the native people who work for with the Navy or work with the Marines. I stayed on a Marine base for a short period of time. When we left the Hilton, we went to a Marine base. So I went out to eat with some of my wife's people, and they're telling me, like, all about the ins and outs of and how the economy is working and all that kind of stuff. And you can see the disparity between the people. And most of the people, they're living kind of the same way that it is here in Japan. Like, you have families that live together. You might have 2 or 3 generations that live in one home. You feel me? And then you got these other people where you cross the street and like their mansions. When I went to was it Lani Kai? I think that was the name of the area. It was Lani Kai. My wife and I was just like, yo, I wonder how much it would actually be to live in this area. So we pull up Zillow while we're there. Everything was like 1.6 million, 2.7 million, 4 million for just regular homes. Million. Like you see that when you're in San Francisco, you see that when you're in like LA, and then you see the other side, and that's the same thing when I went up to the North Shore. I know those homes weren't, 1.6 million. I can imagine that you got multiple people, multiple generations living in these homes, right? And they're probably, for those homes, if they haven't been there forever, they're probably paying, 600, 400,000 for these homes. It's crazy. It was crazy to see the wage gap like that. It was crazy to see, just depending on where you were. But I thought that was like also a great eye-opening experience. I don't want to get too deep into that. I know, like, I think about this, man, when I do, like, Smoke Your Best, or if I'm on the show with, the Cigar Avengers and all that. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, because I know most people are here for the cigars. It burned the hell out of myself. You don't want to get too far away from the cigar talk. I try to find a good balance. I could talk movies, I could talk economy, I could talk music all day. Also with sports. Let me do that really quick because I only got a little bit of the cigar left. For y'all that was following the NBA, man, what did y'all think about? What did y'all think about the NBA Finals? What did y'all think about Indiana Pacers Tyrese Halliburton, Shea Gilgeous. And if y'all following now, it's been a lot of trades and all that kind of stuff happening. That's what I was doing like on the way back from the gym. I was getting into all the trade talk and all that kind of stuff. So we can do that real quick, but I don't know, man. Like I don't think I had been as emotionally invested in the finals since my Warriors were, won in 22. But just kind of looking at the process to see these young teams get off was kind of cool. Yeah, we'll go back into this. So yeah, this was the Angel Cuesta. That's definitely like if I'm pretty sure you've had it by now, man, because we talked a lot of it, but that's in my opinion, it's one of JC Newman's best, man. Um, and this was like the perfect cigar to kind of have, to smoke and just kind of chop it up with y'all, especially when I don't smoke all the time. I haven't had a Maduro in a minute, but a well balanced cigar that's not too strong, great flavor profile. Let me see what Rob was about to say. Hold on. You feel about the NBA free agent season? Yeah, I love the fact that right now that I feel like these small market teams, the Thunder and Indiana, with these young cats working together and playing team basketball and really playing with complete teams, put a lot of pressure on a lot of the other teams that are out there to retool and reassemble so that everybody can kind of get together where you can't just play big three anymore. That's dead. That's dead and gone. You really got to have a complete team right now, and you got to be able to play offense, defense, and everybody got to think about the injury bug right now. Just seeing what was it? Was it 5 players that went out with an Achilles tear in just the playoffs alone? And I think it's 7 players altogether for this season that went out with the Achilles tear. That's going to change basketball. So I was posting a few weeks ago that the Achilles tear is the new ACL tear. It's the thing that could end the player's season. It can end their career at this point. You feel me? So everybody has to go back and retool, and you're seeing like a lot of big men. You're seeing a lot of wings moving around right now, and I feel like everybody's trying to get a really good center that can actually rim protect, but actually be mobile. And this has been coming for the past couple years, but I think these younger teams, these healthier teams, and these well put together teams it's going to change the face of basketball. And I feel like everything that everybody was complaining about with all the flopping and all that kind of stuff, that's going to die. That's not going to be a thing anymore because they saw what it takes to actually win now. You got to be healthy. You got to be young. You got to have good veteran leadership. You got to have a solid center or two. And you got to be able to move the ball and you got to be able to hit threes. Like you literally playing from the basket outside, and you're not going to be able to just say you got 3 dudes that can, score 20 plus points a night and think you're going to win a basketball game. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen with the Lou Dorts that's out there. It's not going to happen with the Chet Holmgrens that's out there. It's not going to happen with the Alex Carusos, with the Miles Turners. Like all of this, like this game is not going to work the way that it used to anymore. It's going to be a whole different ball game. Boston is going to look different. Atlanta is going to look different. The Warriors are going to look completely different. You saw they just moved Looney to the Pelicans. The Knicks are already a different basketball team. So all of this stuff is really going to like change and like basketball is going to be a lot more fluid. It's going to be a lot more athletic, and it's going to be a lot more defensive. And I think it's a beautiful thing. So I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying to see the way these teams are strategizing right now. Everybody's trying to get a new coach. They're trying to get coaches that is not going to run their players into the ground, that's going to be able to motivate their teams, and is going to be able to pick good players. Peter, what up, man? Peter M. Long time no see. Sashiburi. What up, bro? So I'm really excited about next season, and I'm really kind of like locking in to kind of see where this is gonna go. So that said, I'm at the end of this. So whatever questions y'all got, man, y'all know I'm gonna pop up whenever I pop up. So throw something out there. Talk about a cigar. Talk about basketball. Talk about anything. Let me answer a couple questions before I bounce. I want to see where y'all heads at. I feel like I filibustered a whole lot of this thing. I try, y'all know, I try to get everybody involved. I try to like chop it up with everybody. Um, I don't want to leave anybody out. I'm happy to see all of y'all, man. I'm happy so many people joined in for the conversation to allow me to get a lot of this stuff off my chest, that to get resettled now that I'm back home. And I'm for real. I'm gonna try to pop up um, on a cigar collective. I'm gonna try to pop up and chop it up with the Avengers crew. I'm gonna do everything I can to be on as much as I possibly can. The schedule was booked tight though. It's gonna be difficult, but I love seeing all y'all faces, man. I love having conversations with y'all, and it's a big thing. I don't take anybody for granted for joining in on the channel. Just popping up to get like 20 people, you know, watching me and having a conversation with me is huge, especially when I'm away so much now. And I don't know, man. I probably don't always have the best insight when it comes to cigars, but I try to make this fun, and I try to be, ingratiated with y'all as much as I possibly can. I don't even know if I asked y'all. I saw a couple people post what they were smoking, but did y'all have a cigar tonight? Did y'all smoke with me? Anybody light anything up that's worth talking about? Y'all have any suggestions for me? Oh, Susume, do you have any recommendations on what I should try in the rare times that I pick up a cigar? Is there anything that's like out there that's like got y'all like hooked? Like, okay, this is the cigar that needs to be talked about right now. I think the last time that I brought this up, everybody was bringing up the Alma Forte. What is it? Is it still Alma Forte, the Cielo? Don Lino, Africa. Somebody was telling me about that a minute ago, man. I don't know if that was Fred or not. I don't know if that's Fred. I think it was Fred. But Fred been trying to get me to smoke that cigar for a minute. I don't ever see it. It's just never come by in anywhere that I've been able to get my hands on it. I know I don't have it in the humidor now. And that's the other thing, man. My humidor is at like 74% right now. It's so humid in Japan. I cannot get my humidor right. I'm struggling with that. My Tupperdoors are doing the trick for me. That's where this one came from. Uh, Rob said he's smoking the CAO in Nicaragua. How you digging that one, man? I know that's a classic, but my homeboy was smoking the Italia the other day. I got a whole thing of like CAOs that I haven't given away, and I know I got the Italia, the Brazil, the Nicaragua, the Mexico, and it's another one that's in there. You said it was Fred. You remember? Let's see. Mark said he smoked the Camacho Triple Maduro before work. Kind of rough to be real. Dude, first of all, you said it was Camacho. Second of all, you said it was the Triple Maduro. Uh, like a bit of sweetness with my darkness. I'm the same way. I feel, and maybe this is the culinarian in me, that I kind of feel like you need a little bit of balance in there. I know there's people that like to smoke the heavier coffee, bitter, robust cigars, and that's all well and good. But that M81 didn't sit well with me because of that reason. You know what I'm saying? But that triple Maduro, that was too much for me, man. I wasn't really digging it like that. I think you need that balance. You know, in Japan, that's Nagai. Like the the bitterness is a good thing. That is a necessary quality when it comes to flavor profiles. It is important to have, And if you're doing those wood flavors, if you're doing those coffee flavors, I think that is important for the palate to give you that kind of roasty robustness. But if you don't have something on the other end, acid or sweet to balance it, it throws the whole thing off. It's just a rough experience. So I feel you on that, man. That was a tough go with that Camacho. And it was funny because if you go to the Padron episode that I was talking about earlier, I that had a little brief conversation with a guy who was going back and forth about how much he loved Padron, and I was saying like a lot of those flavors that that you're getting out of that is going to be a lot of those more like leathery, coffee, bitter flavor profiles, right? And some people that works for them, and that's good. I'm never mad at that if that's like what you're into, but I feel like Padron could expound on that and be a lot more balanced. You can get something like the JC Newman. You can either go with their Maduro, you can go with the Julius Caesar or something like that, and it will be a lot more balanced. That's my opinion, right? So he was asking me like, what else would you smoke instead of this? Like, what could be better? And I was like, the reason why I'm not super into that profile is just because it's too harsh. And we all know the construction is top notch, and you're not going to be able to touch that in most cases, for sure. But find another way to expand on that flavor profile and expand on that blend so that it's a lot more than just those harsh flavors. And then he came back and he was like, "Yo, I like my father and I like Padron." And I was like, "Well, that kind of makes sense." And I'm like, "You're not the type of person that I'm talking about when it comes to Padron because it makes sense why you smoke those cigars. If you like those dark coffee flavors, then that's going to be a win for you just about every time." But even for me, like I love dark chocolate. And I used to go 72, 76, or 80%. But once you go above that, when you get into the 86%, 90% dark, it's too dark. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel personally that kind of like it kills your palate for me in general. And I always feel like there's something more that to be expected or something it leaves you wanting more. So I don't know when the last time I went for like something that was like double Ligero or like triple Maduro or something like this. There's a time and place, I feel. But I don't know. I think where my palate is right now, I'm gonna be a lot better with the Angel Cuesta. Or I brought out as a backup this Principal Cigars. This is the Accomplice. I was gonna light this up. I don't think I'm gonna light it up right now. But for me right now, that's working a lot better. Let's see. My man Moses said I had the LFD Lennox, blew me away. Unique smoke. Went to buy and found out about all the back orders. Dude, I'm not surprised, and I'm gonna tell you why. That series, that what was it? The Lennox, uh, La Bocata, and the other end of the spectrum was it the Solus? I think that's what it was. I think it was the Solus. Phenomenal cigars, phenomenal. And if y'all remember, I went on a period where I was doing a lot of LFDs and I was smoking those cigars quite a bit. And I fell in love with the Knox. I still think I got one left downstairs. And I think I got a Solus. I think I have those two together. But when you're looking for a darker, more robust, heavy, full body cigar like that, the Lennox is money. The Lava Coda is money. Try that one out if you haven't had it yet, Moses, or if you haven't had one recently. And same thing with what's the La Gareta? They had the what's the Anamoy? I think that's what it was. Same thing. Same thing. If you like that one, go look for the Anamoy. I think I'm saying that right. That thing is stellar. If you like that one, I think that one will do wonders for you. Peter M said, I love darker cigars on a journey to find lighter cigarettes. I like. Actually, I can't help you on that one. I don't know nothing about cigarettes. But the same cigars that I just mentioned, you should try those too, Peter. I think you would really dig those if you haven't had them yet. All right, I just got a call, so let me see what's going on. If I got this call, it's probably something major. Hey, thank y'all for joining with me. I'm gonna get off real quick, and I will talk to you guys the next time I pop up, be it with the collective or the Avengers. Sooner or later, I'll be around, man. Thank y'all for joining in with me, and I'll catch y'all on the next go round. Y'all be easy. Peace.